All right, in the last video, we talked about the importance versus urgency. And the Eisenhower Matrix is a way to help us organize and focus on the things that we should be doing if we're trying to get to our goals, right? To the long term and short term goals. But how do you decide what's important? What is a process that you can go by to make that happen? So I have a suggestion. If you don't know what's important to you, one thing that you can do that actually helps realize whether or not you are actually spending time with what is important to you is for a period of 1 to 2 weeks, keeping a journal or a log of literally everything you do and how long you spend doing it. For this, you're going to need a stopwatch that you have with you at all times, and you're constantly starting and stopping every time you start a new task. For example, you can write that you spend 30 minutes of math homework, 2 hours on Twitter, 1 hour playing video games, a couple of hours cooking dinner and making chores, etc. Right? And you keep a log of everything that you do and then categorize that in different types of tasks. Then you write down the tasks before you start doing them. Use the stopwatch to time how long you spend on them, and then stop the time when you stop doing. Now, of course, during this week, you're literally going to spend time doing the log, and you don't have to actually add that time. I just interested on the time you actually spend on the tasks. Now, do try to pause the stopwatch if you get distracted by something else, and then try to log how long you spent with that distraction too. And I tend to log that on the general distraction category because I was doing something and then I got distracted by something else. And so I log that as what it was, but I also log it as a distraction. So for example, let's say I was doing a project for English and I got a phone call and I got distracted by a friend. Then I'll write down an hour and a half speaking with a friend on the phone, but I'll also tag that as a distraction time because it took me away from what I was supposed to be doing at that time, right? Now, this process can also help you notice how much time you're investing in different things in your life and help you hold yourself more accountable. So it's a good thing to go through ever so often. I try to do this like, I don't know, like once a year or once or twice a year, just to see if I'm off balance and off, not in the direction that I need to be if I want to actually prioritize meeting my long term goals. So after your data collection period is done, you're supposed to organize your tasks all in a list and then sort them from items that you think are most or least important to you, and then try to uh, prioritize them by that importance. And since there's limited time, you may have to choose between many important things. This can help make sure that you focus on literally what's more important to you. And also remember, though, that varying the time you spend in your life is important too. You should not be a productivity machine. You should have some time to relax, to work on your hobbies and passions, or even just have some unstructural time. That can also be important. So make sure to consider such things when you are trying to design your importance list. So I have an example here of what I've done uh, before. So I have not I don't have time virus because I haven't actually timed myself with this, but this is a general idea based on what I know I've been spending time on lately. Now, you can do it that way too if you don't want to do the logging process that I just described, but I recommend you do the logging. But if you're not going to do the logging, you can at least do this. Think about the things you have to do and how much time you're spending with each one of them. And what I did here is that in green, I put things that I'm spending lots of time with. Blue, things that I'm spending some considerable amount of time with. Yellow, the things I'm spending a little bit of time with. And then I put it in red, the things that I'm spending kind of very little time with. And actually, this is more of an orange than a yellow, but okay. Anyways, um, what I'm going to do now is go through each of these items and try to prioritize them, to put them in a priority list. But instead of just putting it in an order hierarchy, like a priority of importance, I'm also going to consider urgency at the same time. So if I think that they're not urgent things to deal with, or they're never really urgent things, I'm going to put them in not urgent category. If there are things that usually come with deadlines that I got to get it done at a certain point of time, then I'm going to put them in the urgent tab. If there's something that's not important at all, I'm going to put them in the non-important tabs. So I'm literally uh, doing the priority list, but I'm also automatically putting it in Eisenhower Matrix. And you would do something similar, except you would have to do this with the things you have to manage, the different tasks you have to do for different classes, the different homeworks you have to spend with each class, different study time that you have to dedicate with each class, a job that you have, chores you have to do at home, things you do for fun, all of it in a list, right? And then you go through each one of them. Hiking and horseback riding. I've spent very little time doing that lately, but it is something that's very important to me because I feel so passionate about it. I feel so alive. It's like the thing that when I'm doing it, I feel like I'm in the zone. But it's not something urgent. It's not like there's a deadline for me to get that done. So I want to put that on important but not urgent. Okay. And notice it's a red thing, something that I haven't done that I consider to be important to me. That already gets me thinking, like, okay, are you actually spending your time doing the things you're supposed to be doing? Because how come you haven't been hiking, right? So feeding animals, that's a chore I have to do every day here in my chore, and it is urgent because they can't just not eat. So I have to do that every day, and it is important. If I don't do this, my animals die, right? And my animals are important to me, so I got to make sure that I do that every day, right? Cleaning. Now that's important to me because I don't like to have a dirty house. But if they're not, it's not really an urgent thing, and it's definitely less important to me than hiking. So I'm going to put that underneath hiking, under the stuff that I have to schedule. Doing laundry, same kind of thing. I got to do laundry, otherwise I run out of clothes to wear. But it's less important to me than horseback riding, and it's also less important than cleaning because I really hate being in a dirty house, and so I don't really want to do that. Cooking. So that might not seem very important, but it is because for me, it's like if I don't cook, then I end up eating crap food, and then in my long-term goals of establishing better health, losing weight. That's an important goal for me right now. So that actually is super important. Now, obviously, I can't clean in on a dirty kitchen. I can't cook on a dirty kitchen. So cleaning might be more important than cooking. But I guess now I'm trying to think that there's different kinds of cleaning. Uh, there's like cleaning that's more important than other cleaning, and I probably should separate that. And Mel agrees. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this. Cooking is more important than what I'm going to call upkeep cleaning, but less important than say uh, deep cleaning, which is what I do once in a while in my house to make sure that things aren't really bad. And I think I do that less than laundry, so I'm going to put that underneath laundry. All right. Then I have uh, a chore that I have to do sometimes, which is to fix things which are broken around the house. Like I had a broken mirror. I have a broken another mirror that I have to put up. I had ceiling fans that I have to replace. So just fixing broken things or updating things in my house that I need to get done. And that is not very important to me because I these are kind of like bonuses. As long as it's not like falling apart, I got to do it, but it's not super important. So I'm going to put it here as something that is not important. Um, but some of them might be urgent though, because for example, if my wife might be demanding that the mirror gets fixed, or she really wants the ceiling fan to work, and I don't really care because I'm fine the way the things are, perhaps. But now I think this is something that kind of it can be important, but it tends to be urgent. But I don't personally consider them as important as other things. So I'm going to put it down here. I want to start an Airbnb in my property, so I got to do that. That is definitely uh, not. It's kind of urgent because we kind of need some extra cash going to the family, but not very important to me. So I'm going to put it down there. Definitely more important, less important than fixing some of the things that need to be fixed in my house. Catching up with schoolwork, that's very important. I don't want to fall behind schoolwork. It's urgent. I got to do it every day. I got to make sure I finish every day kind of in a good place so I don't kind of the work that I have to do. And I mean by schoolwork, I'm a teacher, right? So what I mean is really like getting the stuff that I'm behind on done. And this is kind of very important to me. I don't really like being behind on my job. I get frustrated. I feel like I'm doing a bad job, and doing a good job with teaching. It's kind of very important to me. So I want to make sure that I'm doing this well. So catching up with schoolwork is going to be definitely in the important and urgent category. Exercise. Haven't been doing a lot of that. That's a bad thing because it's very important to me. It's probably less important than eating well. So I'm going to put that over here. It's not an urgent thing. There's no deadline. I have to put that on myself. So I'm going to put it on the non-urgent category. Cooking for a good diet. I don't know why I wrote that twice. It's already there that I need to cook. Oh, I get what you mean. Like I have to cook, period, right? Because otherwise I can't survive. I have to eat something. So actually, that's important. And I got to put it over here because I got to do something. I always have to eat, otherwise I forget. So that is important and urgent. Uh, but doing so for a good diet, it's got to be over here, and probably more important than how I exercise. But again, I can't do it without cooking, so it's going to be underneath without cleaning the kitchen. So that's going to be underneath that. Errands. Now I got to do that because otherwise I don't have food to cook. I don't have things that I need to keep my house. And once in a while I have to run errands and to go shopping and do other things I need to do. That used to be happening every week or every 2 weeks or something. So I'm gonna put it over here. And I do spend some time doing that, so you can see that something that I have been doing because I can't just not do it. Meditation. That's super important to me, more important than exercising. I want to have balance and mindfulness in my life. So I want to be able to do that. And I would put that in the same category of relaxation. I need to spend some time relaxing every day. That's even more important to me than exercising. I'd rather not be fit and be de-stressed. So that's kind of like I'm putting that really out there. Um, and that is actually more important to me than having a good diet. So I always reserve time every day for that. And I want to put that in the same category. I don't know why I separated that because if I'm not meditating, I'm doing something else to relax, right? Unstructured time. I think that's kind of important too. You can't just have a life where everything is organized. So I'm going to put it over here. It's not a very important thing, but it is important. I still got to make sure that I have some time in my life where I don't kind of regulate my time. I'm trying to think about remodeling my house, and that's kind of an important thing to me to do, but it's not very urgent. It is kind of urgent, actually. I meant to say it's urgent because if I don't do this soon, it will. I'll have some problems with my foundation, and I need to get that done. So I'm putting that on the urgent. But I guess it should be important to me, but it's not. I wish somebody else could do it for me. So I'm going to put that on the delegate here, and that's probably kind of more important than doing random chores and things that want to be fixed because otherwise there's no point in fixing things around the house if the whole house is falling apart, right? So uh, paying bills or dealing with finances, that's definitely very important. I don't get to do any of these other things if I'm not paying my bills because then I'm not going to relax very much, right? So I gotta do that. That's even less. I think it's less important to me than keeping my house somewhat clean on a daily basis, and I don't have to do that very often. Again, it's not necessarily urgent, but it can become urgent if I don't take care of it all the way to the end of the month. So that's something that I definitely need to make sure that I schedule. Otherwise, I don't do a good job with that. Spending time connecting with friends. That's definitely something that's important to me. And it's less important than some of these other things that I got to make sure I do. But I wish that I could spend more time doing that. So I'm going to put over here on that. What else? Spending time connecting with my partner. That's my wife. That is very important to me. And it's urgent because she wants me to do that too. So I'll put that in here. I definitely got to do that every day if I can. Not necessarily every day, but often. I got to do that. Playing board games or video games. Okay, so that, I mean, all right. I like it. I like doing it, and it could be part of my relaxation time, right? But I think that it's not something that I need in my life. Okay, so I'll put a note over here that these things are kind of maybe part of relaxation, right? So I really would love to explore this hobby and do that, or maybe hobbies. But it's a thing that I do often. I really shouldn't be doing, and I'm not doing a lot of it anyways. It's kind of red. By the way, notice I haven't been cooking very well or exercise very well, but I want to change that. So this is why I'm doing this to kind of think about this process. Social media scrolling. Looks like I'm spending a lot of time just randomly scrolling through social media. That's stupid. I gotta delete doing that. And that's something that I can save a lot of this time that I'm spending here and to shift that to some of these things that I'm not spending time on, which are now red on my schedule, right? Okay. So spending time on Discord or Reddit, engage in intellectual conversations. So I get a lot of satisfaction from that. So again, this kind of goes into the category of things that I really don't need in my life to be happy. They're not important. They're not tied to my long-term goals. I just maybe use as part of relaxation or hobbies, but I really don't need to be doing that. So I am going to be deleting that as well because I don't think that I need to be doing that very often. And you can see that I'm spending a considerable amount of time doing that. as well, because spending it's the blue means I'm spending some time doing that, and I really need to stop doing that because it's just wasting my time. All right, what else? Exploring new hobbies. Kind of nice to do that. I haven't had any time to do that right now. Um, but I feel like my schedule is so full the way it is that it makes sense that I don't have time to explore new hobbies. But that's how you find new passions, and that's how you increase the time you. So I'm going to put on the important things because I want to keep growing in my life, and so I'm going to put it over there. But it's probably less important than everything else since my list so far. Exploring my wife's hobbies. Now, again, this kind of connects with spending time connecting with my partner. But to be very honest, I kind of think that's kind of something that is urgent because my wife wants me to do that, but it's not necessarily that important to me. I mean, it's important for me to connect with my wife, right? So I can maybe say here, maybe part of connection time. Uh, then it makes sense, right? But it doesn't make sense to spend a lot of time doing that because it's not necessarily something that's important to me. It's important to her, right? So that's something to think about. And I am spending a lot of time doing that. And then I have read things that I'm not spending time doing. So that's something that I have to kind of adjust. Connecting with family. I haven't spending a lot of time doing that at all. I live far from family right now. And I actually think it's even more important than spending time with new friends. So I'm going to put that above here. And you can see that I've been kind of a hermit. I haven't, my social life is kind of in shambles. I have not been spending a lot of time with family or friends, but definitely a lot of time with my partner, which is great. I get a lot of satisfaction from that. But maybe it would be nice to have a little bit more balance with that. A lot of time watching TV, and that's because I spend a lot of time talking to my wife, and that's something that we do to connect with her. I really don't think that that's important to me, so it's perhaps something that I could delete from my life. I do it because it's part of connecting with my wife. It's something that we do together, but it's kind of like a passive connection because we're just in the same room doing things at the same time. But I mean, if you're doing that cuddling and stuff like that, it still counts, right? And so I can put it here as part of connection time with wife or as a hobby. Um, so maybe I can put it actually. I can put it on the important but not urgent things because I kind of like doing it. I'll be honest, like it's part of my relaxation. You know what? I'm just gonna. I don't need it. See, it's hard to do this. I have to decide. I can't keep stacking a lot of important things here because my time is limited. So I really cannot be putting a lot of things here. And this is all going to be scheduled. So I really need to like diminish the amount of time I'm spending with this. Otherwise, I'm going to run out of time to do that. Right? So okay. So I'm going to also prior connection with life or hobby or relaxation. Maybe I can still keep some of these things I'm deleting. So you can see that I'm struggling with giving up these things, right? They're not part of my long-term goals. And by the way, one thing that you can keep focus on your long-term goals, and I didn't talk about this on my other video, but is to actually write down what your goals are here at the top. So one of my priority goals is to be healthier, right? Have a stronger relationship with my wife, uh, financial stability, and career success are important things to me. I also want to make sure that I improve my social circle. And if I think of the goals in terms of like what's most important to me, I think probably my wife is the most important thing to me because she's actually has more financial, better source of financial stability than I am. So, and I get that some of that from her. So connecting with her is probably the most important thing to me. But I also think that my career success is important, um, and then improving my social circle would be after that. And I don't want to put my financial stability and career above my health. Yeah, my dog agrees. This is the order of my goals right here, and you don't want to have too many of them, but I want to put those over there. And those are just kind of like a general goal. Now we could turn these goals into SMART goals, and I'll make a different video that talks about how to make your goals into SMART goals. But for now, I just kind of have like a summary uh, of what my goals are. And notice that I did put those in a priority list. That way, what's more important for me? So my health, financial stability after that, career success after that, and my social circle. Let me think about this. Actually, I think my career success matters more to me than how much money I make. So I'm going to put that higher than that. But it's kind of hard to have health and financial success, and even a relationship, if financial stability is not there, I'm gonna go back. These are I'm tossing back and forth between these two. I don't know. It's kind of like a tie between these two here, right? All right, so let's move on to the next one here. Um, so having a goal summary at the top can really help you focus on when you're trying to make your plans. Okay, so where did I leave off? Let's see. Exploring current hobbies. I think that's kind of more important than exploring new hobbies because you don't want to leave your hobbies to the side, especially if you love them, right? And personally, I'm not really of a social person, and although that is part of my extended goals, I think I want to put my hobbies over here. But since my short-term goals say that I want to improve my social circle, perhaps I can try to connect with friends by expanding my hobbies, and then I can join those things together, right? So maybe I'll put here with friends, right? Uh, that will actually allow me to do both. That would be a good idea. So, for example, play some board games or video games with friends, and that way I get to do that. Or when I go to Discord or Reddit, if it's people that I know, I'm actually spending my actual support circle. Uh, all right, what else here? Reading. I really love reading, and I do spend a considerable amount of time doing there. That is part of my relaxation. It's probably more important to me than a lot of the other things that are on this list. More important than doing laundry and cleaning, deep cleaning. More important than doing things. But I want to be healthier, so I want to put that below exercise and cooking well. Even if I have to give up reading less because I like learning, but I do need to be healthier. All right, now this is a very urgent task. There's a problem with the business taxes for my wife's business, and I have to fix that. So I got to put that on my urgent and important because if I don't do that, and notice I haven't done spent any time doing that, and that is pretty urgent. Okay, obviously less urgent than cooking because otherwise I'll starve, or keeping my current job because this is for my wife's job. But it's something that I have to do because it's part of my skills. I could perhaps delegate it, but I don't know if we can afford to pay an accountant right now. So I got to do it myself, and I signed up for it. So I mean, maybe I could delegate this to an accountant. Uh, yeah, I'm going to put it over here because I can ask my wife to pay an accountant to take care of that. So I'm going to put it and try to deflect that because it is urgent, but it's not important to me. That's why I haven't spent the time doing it. It's my wife's business. I mean, although my wife's business is part of my financial stability, so that's why it's kind of important to me. But again, I'm trying to keep this important list short, so I'm trying to delegate as much as I can. So there you go. Next one is prepare for the road trip. I have a road trip coming up, and if I'm not ready for it, it's going to be a problem. And that's pretty urgent. Perhaps even urgent than spending time with my wife right now because I'm going to the trip to spend time with my wife and my wife's family. And if I don't prepare for it and set up the trailer and everything I need to do, we don't. I really do need to put that. That is urgent. We're leaving in a week and a half, so I got to do that. Harrow the upper pasture. The snows are going to come soon, and then I won't be able to harrow my upper pasture anymore. And so I got to take care of that. But it's not 100% urgent because it is coming up. But it's pretty important because I don't want to cause problems for my horses. And so I'm going to put that on the top of my not urgent list because this is about to be urgent if I don't take care of it very soon. Fix my car tire. So I have a car that has a tire that needs to be fixed. It's working right now. It's not urgent, but if I don't fix it, it's going to become urgent soon. But I'm not using that car so much, so it's less important than harrowing the upper pasture. And honestly, it's probably something that my wife can do, and it's her car anyways. So I'm going to delegate that to her. So I'm going to put that on the not important for me because honestly, she should take care of that. And my wife should probably help me with prepare for the road trip too. So I'm even going to put here, see below, and I'm going to put that as, some of it she has to prepare. So I'm going to split that task. Can't be just my responsibility, right? We got to do that together. What else? There's some videos that I need to record for work, and they're kind of cool. It's kind of something I want to add, but they're not actually very important. They're less important than everything else so that I have to do here. So oh, I don't know. Perhaps it's people are counting on me to do this, and I promised them I was going to do it. So I kind of think that like it's something that I can probably delegate actually because I can find videos of people that already did it, and yet I'm recording this one. So clearly I'm doing it, but I probably should deflect that. I probably should deflect that because I don't want to put too many. And my list of important things is getting really, really big. So, the good news is that some of these things are quick, so I probably have enough time. But we'll see. If I try to run out of time, I'm going to try to see what I can do about that. All right. So plan the next unit for my courses. Now that is not yet urgent, but it's going to become. By the time like October comes, I'm going to need that, and so that is before the pasture because the snows comes before the after that. But if I don't have the next unit planned for my courses, eventually this is going to become urgent. So it's important. I probably need to schedule the time to do that. Send positive notes to parents. Again, this is something that's expected of me. I need to do it at work. It's an urgent thing. It is important to me because I want to make sure that my students have that connection. But it's probably less important than, say, uh, planning my next unit and definitely taking care of my pasture. But I think I'll put this up here. I have to catch up on some positive context, so I'll do that near the top. So I really am kind of need to be doing this on a regular basis. In fact, this is also urgent because my boss demands that I do that. So I'm going to go ahead and put that here, right? Unfortunately, I have to do that because it is important, and it's just less important these other things. And my boss wants that done ASAP, so I got to make sure I do that. Grade assignments already turned in. That is behind. I'm behind on some assignments, and so I got to do that. That means it's urgent, and I wish I could delegate that to somebody else to do it, but right now I don't have anybody else to do that. So I kind of consider that part of catching up with schoolwork, so it's already in there. It's just like a very important part of catching up that I need to do right away because I'm behind on my grading. So I'm going to go ahead and put that here. And yet I'm doing this video, right? So you see how I can learn from this too, because and then distracted time, which is like, see, I'm spending a lot of time just like off task, and definitely that's something that I don't want to have in my life. So I'm going to go ahead and delete that. The good news is that I'm actually not spending that much time with things I should delete. Yeah, maybe I should watch less TV. Maybe I should definitely not spend any time on social media anymore, or try to control the distractions a little bit better. And I'm going to have a different video that talks about focus time and how you can do that so that you're not so distracted. Maybe I don't really need to be on Reddit or Discord engaging on online discussions. A lot of it is just wasted time, anyways. But I do like the intellectual conversation, and I feel like I learn and grow from that. So maybe I can put that as part of my hobbies, but maybe just delete the actually from my like from the intentionally scheduling for that because honestly, like I'm wasting a lot of time with these things. So these are the things I'm not going to do anymore. Definitely not doing this as it is. Let's talk about these delegation tasks here. So I have to record these productivity videos. Now I'm doing one right now, but one of the things I can do is actually just find online and share those instead of recording them myself. It doesn't need to be me recording those. That's probably people online that already did better videos than I do. So I don't have to record them all. I can make a playlist that has videos that other people have already made. Prepare for the road trip. Like I said, my wife's going to do some of it. That helps a little bit. This could be an accountant that I can hire. If my wife says we have the funds to do this, my wife can take care of her own car. This I can. I really do need to do my house remodeling and research funding for that, but maybe my wife can help me with that. So I'm going to ask her to do that. If she doesn't, I'm going to have to promote that somewhere here into the not urgent but important category. Well, it is urgent, so yeah, I might have to promote it over here somewhere. But right now, I'm putting it down here. See if she will do it for me. Uh, Delegate fixing broken things. I can hire people to do this. Okay, so I don't have to do this. I can hire someone to do it for me, and hopefully that will save me some time. The second job in the Airbnb, my neighbor has expressed some desire to help me with that and get some of the a cut for that, so I can probably hire my neighbor to help me with that. Good. And then my wife's hobbies, I can just talk to her about like, okay, I will spend some time that will have to count as our connection time, but I need to deflect some of that and say no to her more often. So basically, uh, say no to pick myself sometimes, and then that way I can do spend some more of the time with my hobbies that I'm not doing right now, right? Because I want to change these colors, right? I want to make sure that all of this is what I'm spending most of my time in. I want these to be green, right? And then I want these things, which are not urgent. So these are the things I'm going to do all the time. I got to feed my animals every day, right? I got to get that done in the morning and at night. As soon as like I'm done with the work, I got to get these assignments graded. So I'm going to do that first thing in the morning tomorrow. And I got to catch up with my schoolwork. So I'm going to make sure my planning period is dedicated to that tomorrow so I can get that done. I obviously have to cook every day, so I need to eat something. So that needs to be on my schedule every day. There's nothing I can do about that. Um, I do have to prepare for my trip, so I'm going to make sure that that's a priority as soon as I have free time, instead of doing any other chores. But yeah, I still want to connect with my wife at least a few times a week, so that's important to me, and I'll make sure I always do that. And I'm also going to make sure to dedicate some time during my planning period to send positive. But now I have this in order of priority, right? So if I have to decide what I do each day, I'm going to do that. So obviously, there are things here which are routine tasks, like this one. That these are just happening every day, so that doesn't even make sense to make it a priority of the day. But for tomorrow, I'll make these my priority. So I'll just put this in bold. So these are routine. So it doesn't make sense to think of it as making the daily goal for that one. But these are routine tasks up here at the top. Meanwhile, the this is my priority for tomorrow is going to be doing this, so I can make sure I can take care of that. And these are my main things for tomorrow. Okay, that's what I'm going to make sure I do it. And then the next one will be preparing for the road trip and spending some time connecting with my wife. If I have time, I have this alternate task that I can get to, which is doing this, getting this done. But if I don't do that tomorrow, right, um, I can do that the next day, right? So if I can't connect with my partner tomorrow because I have to prepare for the road trip, that's okay. Because once I take care of these priority tasks, these will become my priority tasks for the next day. So that's okay. But if I have time, I will hit my alternates. And that's when I'm going to spend 80% of my time tomorrow and from now on, right? Because I got to get these things done. Now, these things are important to do, but I want to make sure that so I already talked about how I'm deflecting these. These I'm just not going to do at all. These I have to schedule, right? So then what I'm going to do with this is I am going to put on my calendar, right, for next Friday to spend my planning working on preparing my unit for chemistry. And then the next Friday, I will put biology, because biology is further out than actually the other way around. Biology is going to hit the unit first. So I will do that like that. And that is going to be on my calendar. I'm going to dedicate maybe 3 hours on that Friday to make sure that it gets done. Uh, Harold the Upper Pasture. I am going to schedule 1 hour each day next week. Do that from, let's say, 6 to 7 p.m. And the best part is that that counts as exercise because it's a lot of work. So I'm going to do that. Because I haven't been doing a lot of hiking or back riding, I'm going to make sure that I schedule 2 weekends per month in my calendar. That makes sure that I'm starting to spend more time with these tasks by scheduling them. Upkeep cleaning, put it on my calendar to do 30 minutes daily. Whatever I can do in 30 minutes is what I'm going to do for that. At, let's say, 6:30. Well, actually, it has to be a 7 because that's after my upper pasture work. So I'll leave that block open. I'll put in my calendar to pay the bills twice a month, on the 15th and on the 30th of each month. And I will schedule 2 hours from 8 to 10 on those days to do that. And I'll put that on my calendar. I will put this every day because it's very, very important to me at 8 p.m. for 30 minutes to do some meditation or something that counts as relaxation. Could be any of these things, even from my deleted list. Something that I count. I'm doing this for myself. I like doing it. It could be even from the things that I deleted. I'm just not going to spend time doing that. It's not controlled. But as long as it's part of my relaxation task, that's okay. Cook for a good diet. I'm going to do Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 8:30, and then I can cook for a dinner and lunch for the next day. Set up my salads and stuff like that, and then I'm going to put here and have my wife cook 3 times per week to help my goal of health. She has the same goal anyways. Uh, so I'll put it here that my wife's going to help with that. So these are the things I'm delegating. So because I'm delegating these things, I want to spend very little time with these, right? I'm going to spend very little time with these, or if any time at all, right? I don't want to do that. So these are the things that other people are going to do for me. And these, I am going to even put in black because I'm not spending any time at all. These are not going to be part of my schedule anymore, unless they're a part of one of my other things. Exercise. I'm going to start waking up earlier and do Monday, Wednesday. Actually, let me do Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday at least. And I will do Tuesday and Thursday at 5:30 a.m. And do Saturdays either a hike if I'm already doing that, or schedule an actual workout at 9 a.m. Errands, I'm going to do those on Saturday morning or Sunday afternoon. Hike on the afternoon on Saturday, or do a workout at 9 a.m. And I'll put both on my calendar so that I remember to do that. And then for reading, running out of time here to do everything that I want to do. So maybe on the days that I don't work out, I'll read in the morning after I wake up. That's a good idea. So I'll do that on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 5:30, and that way I'll read every morning and get. Actually, let's do this at 6 a.m. So 1 hour before work, I'll put some reading in there, or part of relaxation. Be something that I do for relaxation too. Chores, laundry. I will do these on Sundays when I am at home, or during the 30 minutes of cleaning chores that I do daily. Deep cleaning, I will do this. You know what? I need to delegate this. I have too many things which are important. I need to hire someone to deep clean my house. So I don't have to do this all the time, right? So I am going to hire a maid at least every other week. Do this cleaning. Why am I doing this, right? Unless I can afford it, in which case I have to go back and reschedule this somehow. But I'm running out of time here. So I got a lot of times that I have to put on my schedule. And when I start putting this on my calendar, I want to see that I'm kind of blocked out. So I don't want to do this. Unstructured time. So I'm going to put this as uh, Sunday mornings. I just don't want to have a plan. I just want to do whatever I want. Connecting with family. Let's say, let's do, they live far. So let's do Zoom meetings on Fridays at 7 p.m. That would be a kind of cool thing to do. Or also Sundays. And I can pitch that to my family and see how they feel about that. I can also do maybe some text messaging every night before bed. Just connect with one of my family members. I could probably try to do that. Same thing with friends. I can text before bed, or during lunch, right? Or during relaxation time. Another thing that I can do is also schedule dates with friends on Saturdays when not going on hikes. Uh, Exploring current hobbies. Again, something that I'm going to try to do with the friends, so that solves that problem. And new hobbies, I'm going to do at least one day, night, or morning per month to do that. And I'll leave the rest of them as structure time, 3 times per month, that I do whatever I want. And what about time with my wife? I kind of got to make sure that to connect with her. even though it's already here that I'm always going to do anyways. So this is going to be every night after chores and relaxation. I can spend some time with her and also schedule dates every week, at least once a week. We can also work out together. We could also do hobbies together. Uh, that's part of what I do on Sundays. I convince her to do some of my hobbies, sometimes do some of her hobbies. What else we can do? We can do errands together. There you go. I have a plan now to structure my life. You don't need to do this all the time, but do this once in a while to kind of organize what you got to do. And this is my Heisenberg scale that I created based on that plan to try to orchestrate. So I spend most of my time doing the things which are very important. I have the things that I do all the time, the things that I got to do tomorrow, the things that I will do if I have time, or the next, which will be the next priority items. I have some things that I have to schedule, and I will put all of those in my calendar and block out times to make sure I don't forget about doing them. All of these things, which are now I'm going to try to delegate. If I really can't delegate, I got to make them part of my schedule stuff. And I already have a lot of time to do that. So I'm going to make sure I try to delegate those. And then these things, I will delete them altogether or include them as part of my relaxation time every day or unstructured time, right? When I have those times. And so there you go. Now, this might seem like a lot, but this is what very successful people, habits of successful people, right? They take the time to be intentional on how they spend their time, and that's always a good idea. I know this is a longer video, but it's a good example of how to do this. Now, I can't do an example as a student because it's different for a student. I'm not a student, but it would be similar, right? Except you would some of these things that are in my life wouldn't be in your life. It all depends on what's in your life. So it's unique for every person. So that's why I had to do an example for me. I hope that makes sense, that it's helpful. I'll see you guys on a future video.